Hey guys, so I'm going to talk a little bit about my guitar tone and what I use to get my tone. Now, when I record, I use a Line 6 Spider 4 um, 150 watt amp head going in from the output into my interface, and it doesn't make the best sound. It just by itself, without any tweaking or EQs, it just sounds really horrible. And I'll show you what I mean right here. As you can tell, it sounds really bad. And I had a little bit of tweaking and EQs, and here's the tone I get for this one. And it sounds fairly good. And I'll show you the tone for my next one right here. And with a little bit of tweaking and EQ, you can actually make the tone sound fairly decent. Still not going to be the best guitar tone in the world, but it will get the job done as far as recording rock and metal. And so, it's important to pan your guitars left and right, which I will go into detail in just a minute about. But for now, I'm going to show you my presets that I use for my guitar tracks. Now, for the first track, I use the picked electric guitar preset, and I add some classic guitar improve. This ups the middle a little bit, and that's just the way I like the sound of. Now for my second track, I use classic guitar improve for this one as well. But to keep it more mellow yet still heavy, I use a little bit of sweetener because I didn't want to add the same presets for both tracks because I figured it would just be a little too much as far as the mids go, and I didn't want to do that. And I didn't want to add too much mid-range. And when I use the full mix, I do a little bit of reverb and a tiny bit of compression at 2 o'clock on here. The reason why I didn't do that on here now is just because I'm just focusing on the guitar tracks for the sake of this video, and in my next video I will add in some drums and my bass, which will be in the next video, and I will show you my presets for my bass on there as well. And so we're going to talk a little bit about panning. Now on digital audio workstations, or DAWs, DAW as most people know them, especially musicians when you're recording, they usually pan all the way up to 100% on left and right. Now Garageband doesn't do that. For some reason it just pans all the way to 64% on the left and 63% on the right. Not sure why they've done that. But when you keep both tracks center, it sounds really muffled, like they're pushing up against each other, and it's just really muddy, and it's really horrible. So that's why it's important to not just pan your tracks left and right all the way, but to also record 2 separate tracks. Because if you copy and paste, let's say you copy and paste this track onto the next one, all you're going to get is the same guitar just pan left and right. It's the center track just pan left and right. It doesn't make a difference. Whereas you record it 2 different times, then it makes a huge difference. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what it does when you pan your guitars left and right from the center. And as you can tell, it really takes away the punchiness from those center tracks. And some people quad track, which they'll use 4 different tracks and record the guitar 4 different times. But for me, it's a lot of messing around, and it's a little more complicated for me, and plus double tracking just works for me. And so that's basically how I get my guitar tone. The next video I'll add in my drums and my bass, and I'll show you my presets on there. So until next time guys, God bless you and have a great weekend.